Hi, fourth graders. We're back, and today we're studying about solving equations. So I'm going to read to you the first part. It's actually pages 257 and 258, and it says, an equation is a mathematical sentence that uses the equal symbol to show that two expressions are equal. Sometimes an equation contains an unknown number that is usually represented by a letter of the alphabet. So when we look at our first problem, this is at the top in your orange box. We have n plus 5 equals 6 times 3. So the first step says solve the side with the unknown number and write the answer below. So the side with the unknown number is, or the side without the unknown number is 6 times 3. So that's what we have to solve first. So then we would write n plus 5 equals 18 and solve our problem. Next, step 2 says we have to solve for n because n must be left alone or by itself. So because we have n plus 5, we have to do the opposite to get n by itself. We have to subtract 5. So now we write n plus 5 minus 5, but if we subtract 5 on one side, we also have to subtract 5 on the other side. So then we also write 18 minus 5. Now I know this probably seems kind of confusing so far. Remember, it's the first time we're doing it, so just go step by step with me. We'll do some problems together. So the next part of our example is that kind of a trick that I use is that if we are adding and subtracting 5 here, that means these 5s cancel out. So you can lightly cross off the 5s. The 5s are gone now. So now we have n by itself. N equals 13 after we subtract 18 minus 5. Now, step 3, we have to check our answer by rewriting the original equation and substituting our number in place of n. So because n equals 13, we're going to put that back into our problem. 13 plus 5 equals 6 times 3. So we want to have, when we check, we want to have both numbers at the bottom be the same. So we know that 13 plus 5 equals 18, and 6 times 3 also equals 18. That's how we know that our equation is correct and that we've checked it correctly. So now I want us to look at part 1, and I'm going to erase and write 1a on the board. Actually, sorry, I'm not going to do 1a because 1a is done for us. So we're going to skip to 1b, and it says n minus 3 equals 8 times 2. In our directions, we are going to finish the equations. So they have part of them done for us, and the rest we have to fill in. So they've given us our equation, then it says n minus 3 equals blank. So we have to solve the side without n, or without the unknown number. So 8 times 2 is 16. Now, the next thing we have to do is, because we've subtracted n minus 3, we have to do the opposite to get n by itself. So we have to add 3. Now, if we add 3 on this side, we also have to add 3 on the other side. This is where I feel like the equation can look kind of confusing. So we have to do the opposite to get n by itself. And remember, the last time I lightly crossed off the 3's because the 3's have been canceled. And now we have n by itself. So now we have to write n equals the answer to 16 plus 3, which is 19. Then it asks us to fill in the blank, so we have to fill in the blank with our n number. We're going to write that in our original equation, so we'll write 19 minus 3 equals 8 times 2. this is our check, where we have to check to see if our equation matches. So 19 minus 3 equals 16, and 8 minus 2 also equals 16. So we know that our equation is correct. I'll give you just a couple seconds to make sure you have that written down. That was for 1B, we're just filling in the numbers. And then let's go ahead and do 1C together. Let me write that out. 1C, we have n plus 4 equals 7 plus 2. They give us n plus 4 underneath, and then they want us to solve. So they want us to solve the side that doesn't have n. So that would be 7 plus 2, which is 9. Then it actually gives us the next step, which is n plus 4 minus 4 minus 9. However, now we have to do that to the opposite. So we did, added n plus 4 here, then we subtracted because that's the opposite. Now we also have to subtract 4 from the other side. This is so we can get n by itself. Now in the last problem, I lightly crossed off the 4's because those cancel now, that they're opposites. N is by itself, so n equals 9 minus 4, which is 5. Now we have to check. So when we check, we have to put our n number 5, back up into our first equation. So 5 plus 4 equals 7 plus 2. Now to finish our check, we have to add on both sides. So 5 plus 4 we know equals 9, and 7 plus 2 equals 9. So we know that that equation is correct because we have the same number on both sides. Now part 2 is a little bit trickier because it's not fill in the blank. We have to do the whole equation on our own. So let's do 2a together. So 2a, we have n, let's see, n plus 6 equals 4 times 4. All right, so step 1 says to solve the side with the unknown number, or that doesn't have n, the other side, the opposite side. So we would write n plus 6 equals 16. So we solve the side that doesn't have n. Now we need to get n by itself. So because we added n plus 6 here, we have to do the opposite, subtract 6 on the one side, and then we have to also do that on the other. This is to get n by itself. Like I did before, can cross off the 6's because those cancel out. So n is going to equal 10. All right, now what we have to do is we have to check. We are going to put the 10, our n, answer to n, up into our original equation. So now 10 plus 6 equals 4 times 4. When we add 10 plus 6, that equals 16. And we add 4 times 4, that also equals 16. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to have you do 2B and 2C on your own today. Let Miss Lowen and I know if you have any questions, and I'll see you again next time.